Hey, it's James speaking. Another live session about 10 minutes after I just did my previous live session, which was all about how I think all of the new launches with ChatGPT are going to change the way course creators, video creators actually use these AI tools. And the one that I just talked about was this brand new model that came out on the weekend from ChatGPT and OpenAI. It's the new O3 mini model. And what I showed in the video, and I'll put the link below, what I showed is how it's starting to think before it responds. That was kind of the whole gist of it. And of course, when I did this video, I used a couple prompts, and I'll show you, I'm going to use them again, but I used a prompt basically, and I showed what happens when you use a traditional ChatGPT 4 model that we're kind of used to, and this brand new O3 mini one that thinks before it responds. And I showed some examples, and it basically showed that, hey, it thinks about stuff before it gives us an answer to the questions or the tasks that we give it. And it takes some time to look through and really evaluate what the best way to proceed is. Now, I use the ChatGPT 4 and the O3 model, of course, is because those are the ones that I had available to me in Canada with a basic paid model, not one of the team one or the company business ones. So I didn't have access to this other model, but of course, as soon as I finished the video a couple minutes ago, I go to open up and refresh my ChatGPT app because there's a new build, and then I go to look at it, and what shows up? Well, of course, something else shows up, and that is, instead of ChatGPT 4, which is what normally does, and the ChatGPT O3 mini that I was using before, there's now this one called O1, and that's the advanced reasoning one that is probably a little more in depth than the mini one that we just did, and it includes the reasoning, which the 4 doesn't include. So what I'm going to do here, just in a quick snapshot, is I'm going to use the exact same prompt that I used in the previous video between 4 and O3 mini, and we're going to do it directly within the new model and just see what happens. Because this new one, the O1, I don't think it's new, but it's new to me, but it's new because it was only available, I think, for the paid members and that kind of thing beforehand. So in Canada, with the level I have, I just got access to it 10 or 15 minutes ago. So let's just kind of see what happens with it and how it responds to it. So I'm using the O1 model. I'm going to do a new chat here. And I'm just going to paste in the chat that I used before in the other one. And basically what it says is, you're helping me create a video called Beginner's Photography Techniques. Before giving any suggestions, I want you to pause and think carefully and follow these steps. So this is a prompt that I gave to all of them. And I'm just saying, hey, I want you to think and reason through this and spend some time before you actually create or respond to the task, which is creating a video course. And I was asking for identifying a target audience, best way to structure the course for beginners, balance theory, practical hands-on experiences. So I had some ideas about what I wanted, but I was trying to get it to evaluate what I asked for and how that fits into creating the course and putting that together. So let's take a look what comes up here and watch what happens when I actually click this, because the important part is at the start of the response that I get, because it tells us this model, the O1 plus the O3 that we're looking at, it tells us what it's doing before it responds. So let's click, see what happens, and it says reasoning. It's thinking about it, thinking about it, thinking about it, balancing educational insights, because I asked it about the learning theory, and then it took 8 seconds to think about it before it responded. So like me asking you that question, are you just going to spit something out, or are you going to take some time to think through all of the different pieces? So right now, it's showing me on the page here, below is the high-level explanation on how I approached it. But if I see there's a little cravat here, I forget what they're called, the little top of the roof, if I click it, I get a little message that says, I'm piecing together a photography course for beginners, ensuring privacy and clarity while creating a captivating final outline. Okay, let me see. I'm focusing on a brief summary of reasoning, ensuring it's high level and detailed enough to avoid revealing the chain of thought, yet offering valuable insights. So it's taking its time to think through what is the steps, or what are the different prompts that I would need or questions that I would have to get to the right particular response. So now it's doing that, it's figuring it out, focusing on it, and then it's piecing together the course for beginners, ensuring it's engaging and effective by balancing theory with practical exercises and thinking through. So this is some of the information about what it did before it responded. And then what it tells us is, this is the actual thought process that it went through while it was putting it together. Identifying the target audience, who are they? What do they need? Common challenges. So this was doing some of the research for us, right? Best ways to structure the course, balancing theory with practical exercises, clarifying questions. Here are some questions. So it's asking us, it's asking me, the prompter, to make sure that it aligns. How long do you want it to be? How long do you want each lesson to be? Do you want a single comprehensive course or multiple short courses? How do you want to break it up? It's asking me before it gives the response. And equipment, what do you plan to cover? How does it know what level of photographer it is? More importantly, what kind of equipment do they have? Are they using a Kodak, or are they using an expensive camera, a digital camera with all sorts of fancy lenses and stuff? And then what are the supporting materials? What are the other things that you want to include with it? So this is fundamentally different than just blurting out some kind of course outline or answering the particular questions that it has, spitting it out. It's providing context and thinking about what's appropriate for this particular instance. And then what it does is it creates a draft outline based on what it figured out. And it goes through some of those things, and it says at the end, here's my modules, here's what I suggest that you use. And if you go through to the end, it says, let me know if you have specific preferences about the course length requirement, that kind of thing. If everything aligns with your vision, we can finalize the lesson scripts and supporting material. And then I'm happy to adjust. So this is a completely different approach than what we had before, where it was basically a spit out of whatever was going out. The previous one that I had before, just to show you what the scoop is there on that one, when we reason, let me just go to the one that was before. I think I have this one here. Yeah, so this is the previous one that I did before with ChatGPT 4. Now it says 3 mini because I've switched it, but this original prompt was the 04 model. And basically it didn't think, it just said, let's break it down step by step. And it's just basically regurgitating what I asked it to do. And it basically gave the needs and challenges, but it was just stuff that it knew based on what it had been trained. Didn't go through and think it any further. It just basically gave the answers based on its training. Best way to structure it. It gave some examples of how it is normally structured, but it didn't think of it for this particular course. It didn't reason any of it. And again, it's just taking a look and regurgitating content, for lack of a better term, based on the prompt that we gave it and the steps that we think it should go through. Okay? And then after that, I gave the same prompt with 4, and it took 4 seconds to figure it out, and it did, and went through the same ideas that we're doing it there. Although, because it also is a different model, you can see it says balancing internal thought processes with guidelines is tricky. I'm piecing together how to align guidelines which disallow hidden reasoning. So this one was actually even looking at the prompt a little bit differently than the other model and trying to figure out, well, these are contradictory to each other. How do they actually fit? Now, the only reason I'm showing these to you, and the only thing I want you to think of and understand moving forward, is all of the work that we're doing now with all of these ChatGPT models and reasoning models is when we do a request and we're asking for an idea and a reason, or what are the steps or processes that you have to show us on how you prove your work or show your work, like in the math exams. When you have a math test, it's like, yeah, you can use a calculator to get to the answer, but I want you to show my work. This is exactly what we're doing here with ChatGPT, is saying, hey, show your work. How'd you come up with that answer? What did you evaluate? What are the pros and cons you were thinking of, and how does that actually fit together? So take a look at your version of ChatGPT, play around with those, find out if you've got 4 scheduled tasks, you've got 01 And do you have it yet, or is it coming for you? O3 Mini. Play around with them and just use prompts a little more intelligently in terms of the work that you're asking and the response that you're needing. I think there's a huge opportunity for us to be really, really creative as video creators and content creators, because not only are we able now to just ask for something and get it back, the tools like ChatGPT with these reasoning ones are going to allow us to be more creative and think outside of the box, because we're going to consider stuff that maybe we hadn't considered before. So play around with it. Hope you enjoy it. I'll do up some more videos specifically on some other features that I found in ChatGPT that are super great if you are creating tons of courses and you have a lot of notes that you wish you could just have quickly added directly into your chats without having to upload files like you traditionally did. My name is James. Make sure to like and subscribe to this channel, and you haven't already, join trainingsites.io. Love to have you in there. Great community. All my courses, all my resources, everything is there for free. Take care. Expect the best. We'll be back shortly with another great video to help you start, build, and grow your education business.